This entire military is one cohesive, dedicated force. And the threats to our nations, they don't sleep. They're watching our every move. Iran, Russia, China, North Korea, ISIS, Al-Qaeda. They may be watching this right now. Our military should not be mistaken for a cable news gabfest show. We don't care what you look like. We don't care who you voted for, who you worship, what you worship, who you love. It doesn't matter if your dad left you millions when he died or if you knew who your father was. We have been honed into a machine of lethal moving parts that you would be wise to avoid if you know what's good for you. We will not be intimidated. We will not back down. We've seen war. We don't want war. But if you want war with the United States of America, there's one thing I can promise you, so help me God. Someone else will raise your sons and daughters.
I want to make it clear that the views expressed by our hosts are not considered the official stance of MBR Views. Remember, this is all about having fun and enjoying the ride.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Tracer Round Podcast. A tracer round is a type of ammunition designed to help visually track the path of rounds fired. Tracers show where you need to adjust or redirect fire. Join Army veteran Sergeant First Class Terry Lynch for Tracer Rounds, the first ever podcast of its type. Whether it be military, music, sports, politics, education, relationships, or gender issues, no target is off limits or out of bounds. Are you on target? Or does your fire need to be recalibrated? Whether you adjust fire or fire for effect, tune in to Tracer Rounds, where the range is always open and there are rounds going down range.
Hi, welcome back to Tracer Rounds. My name is Terry. I'm your host, and today in studio with me, I have Red from Just Go Podcast Fairway Travel. And I wanted to talk to Red today about his show, but I also wanted to talk about his military service, first of all. So Red, I'm happy to have you on the show, and kind of tell us about your military service, if you don't mind.
Hey, Terry, thanks a lot. Hey, look, hello, everybody out there. I am Red Skelton. I'm from Meridian, Mississippi. And back in 1986, I made the decision to join up with the military, went to the MEP station over in Jackson. And boy, before we knew it, we were shipping out to San Antonio. I was in the United States Air Force.
Right.
And we got welcomed there, of course, under the barracks, you know, with a lot of tapping on the ground and everything else. A bunch of people, guys just yelling, man. They were so frustrated. But we just paid attention, just stood there at attention, right? Just go with the flow. And but anyway, I did go through there, and I was guaranteed a job with air traffic control, and went on for my technical school at Keesler Air Force Base here in Mississippi. And following that, my first assignment was Eglin Air Force Base, where I learned air traffic control in probably one of a very busy and one of the most complex airspaces, you know, that you're going to find in the free world. And it was the best place you could learn, obviously, to learn your career, being air traffic control. We had all different types of aircraft, and we were able to get to see exactly what they were practicing once they would go overseas on their missions. And so that was a joy to be a part of, whether it was going out to watch a Hellfire mission on the range or just watching them perform, you know, on our radar scopes and seeing what aircraft could really do is really, really, really nice. After Eglin, I was able to go to the Azores and Lodges Field, and it was more of a joint base. You had several different services there, primarily Air Force, but we had some Navy and Army, and stayed there. So Stayed there for 3 years. And I decided to do a little island hop. So I went from an island in the Atlantic to this island in the Pacific. A lot of people might know it as Hawaii.
Oh, nice.
And so went over to Hawaii and spent 3 years.
Wow.
Got to deploy out of there, to a different type of sand, not in the blue Pacific waters. It's a place where there's a lot of sand and just kind of messy and dirty, and no water around. So, hey, I guess they brought in water buffaloes and that type stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But then went on from there and ended up being an instructor at Keesler Air Force Base, and pretty much closed out my career at that point with air traffic control. My last year and a half, I was assigned with U.S. Stratcom.
Okay.
And that was where I really got introduced to the joint mission, as we had all services there, including the Coast Guard. And I worked with the J1 as an assignments officer for air traffic control officers and various other career fields for officers, and learned a lot about the other part, about the military side of the job,
about the joint world.
It was about the joint world for sure. All the J1,
purple,
2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Or purple.
Yeah, there you go. That's right. And it was really neat. Worked with some good people, met some fine people. But I actually retired out of that, and that was at Offutt Air Force Base in Nebraska. My first time I'd been away from the salt water. I was having withdrawals so bad. Fortunately, I was hired back at Keesler Air Force Base as a DOD civilian, where I went back to teaching air traffic control.
Wow.
And did that for several years after that. So,
yeah.
But I had been retired, Terry, almost as long as I was in. I was in for 20 years, and I've been retired for 18 years about right now.
Wow.
Amazing.
Awesome.
Time flies.
It does. It does. It really does.
Wow.
How long were you a DOD civilian?
8 years.
8 years.
Yeah.
So, so you had 28 years basically with DOD, and
basically
whatever.
28 years of federal service, between the military and DOD.
So, did you like air traffic control? I mean, you must.
Oh my gosh.
That long.
Whatever career, what other career field? Okay, you're an enlisted guy. Now, okay, with the assignments, you tell some officers or pilots where to go. But in our air traffic control career field, we told pilots where to go on a day in, day out basis,
Right.
And
did you tell them the pattern was full and they couldn't buzz the tower?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, they had those kind of issues. Now, I was primarily radar myself.
Yeah.
So I wasn't real privy to that. I was talking to the aircraft that were really outside of 5 miles.
Mm-hmm.
And except during inclement weather, IFR conditions, then we had handled them all the way to the ground. But man, I tell you what a joyful career field. And like I said, it was just, hey man, if you're an air traffic controller, you like it, you appreciate it, and people respect you. You get some respect for the job we do. And even with the training, I mean, not everybody, it's got a pretty high washout rate. And so if you make it through there, you know what you're doing. And we just have so many great troops that were before me, after me, and just sharing the knowledge with each other. That camaraderie that you have, I know, with all the services, all the career fields. Right. But, of course, mine had to be the best, right?
Right, of course.
Not to mention, we got to tell pilots where to go,
Right. Well, that
they didn't back talk. And they didn't back talk. Nobody.
Well, that's good. So that must be where you learned how to be a podcaster, because you had to talk on the radio all the time. You had to talk to pilots. You had to tell them where to go, what to do. And so, that's how you got your radio voice.
The radio voice wasn't a problem. Of course, I've always spoke Southernese. I am from Mississippi, right? So in Hawaii, I was stationed on the south side of the island, same with the Azores. But hey, that's part of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So did you find it stressful? Because they always say that being an air traffic controller is really stressful. And you said you were at one of the busiest bases, air bases. So is it really stressful, or were you stressed out doing the job?
Well, maybe I eventually got stressed out. But listen, really, while at Eglin, I was too busy to be stressed out. Okay, because between the learning, there's a stressful environment. just with the learning all the rules and how to actually do air traffic control, how to control aircraft, and how to coordinate with your fellow controller that was right next to you across the room, across the frequency up in the tower, or it could have been one of the FAA centers or an adjacent approach controls. It's a big deal. It's a big deal. I was busy and they were teaching me right. And some of us get through the training a little quicker than the next person. I was fortunate enough probably to be right in the middle of that, but I got right through it, got a lot of positions under my belt, and I had a good idea of what was going on. And that, I mean, I got to give that all to my instructors, you know, my trainers and supervisors that were on our crew. Yeah. And I mean, even at that first base, we probably had 90 plus controllers there working 3 shifts. Yeah. So
that's a lot.
It was, yeah, it really is. You know, it's neat. It was great to learn. That was the best place I could have ever learned. And you know, everything after that was kind of like cake. But as I got older, and I ended up with a little problems, you know, on the stress side with anxiety and stuff. I didn't really attribute it all to air traffic. You know, sometimes I believe it goes into management. You know, how you make rank. You know, when you're airman, when you're an airman or a senior airman, even a young NCO, hey, you have to take orders from everybody, you know. Yeah. But then as you make rank a little bit, then you're giving orders, but stuff still rolls downhill. Yes. And so, you know, I mean, it can be difficult, especially when you start getting caught up there in the middle of it, I think. And a lot of that and just things that were going on had affected me, you know. And boy, I kind of tried to wear my body out, you know, with bad habits and stuff. So, but made it through it all, made it to the 20-year mark, and still worked some civil service afterwards. So, yeah.
So what was your favorite assignment? Out of all those that you did, what was your favorite?
That's a bad question, Terry. No, and I say that's a bad question. I think I would say I had the most fun overall at Eglin in Fort Walton Beach, Florida.
Yeah.
But I was young. Awesome. I was young. I was new in the Air Force, and everything was happy-go-lucky. You know what I mean? All we had to do was be at work on time, leave on time, and show back up the next time, you know, and that wasn't a big worry, and hardly a worry in the world. You know, we knew how to do the job. It went good, and we had a good group of folks. The Azores, it was a great time. I played golf almost every day in the Azores.
Well, see, you know, they don't have an air base unless there's a golf course next door or on the base itself. You know, that's just a requirement. It's part of the landscape of the base. It's either there's one right adjacent or it's on. So
right. Yeah. MWR, you got to love morale, welfare, and recreation. I will say the government, the Air Force, the different services really taking care of us on that aspect. Yeah. And even that's something we can still enjoy into retirement. And I know a lot of places, the civilian populace can even enjoy a lot of those military golf courses now. Oh, and cool. just through the community efforts, you know, with the community things going on, it's really a great thing. But I tell you what, I think one of my most rewarding assignment was at Keesler, teaching air traffic control. Sharing the knowledge of what you had learned to these younger troops. And sometimes they looked up to you too much, thought you were, you know, you were just like, you know, just the Jedi, right? You know, you were the Jedi. And you know, hey, we walked in their same boots and tread that same path that they had. Right. And now guaranteed each one of the people that was an instructor definitely was without a doubt a subject matter expert. And we had to give the right answers, but we were grading the airmen not just on their ATC knowledge, but their military etiquette and everything. You know, it was a whole person. It was a whole person. And we tried to get as many people out of the tech school as we could, you know, through the pipeline. Right. So it was a rewarding career. That was a rewarding, very rewarding.
Well, I always think, at the point at which you can teach somebody something is probably the best part of any job is when you get to that point where you're showing somebody else and you're shaping and forming the next generation. I mean, I don't think there's any greater prize or reward than that.
I
Because
agree.
yeah,
I agree. And I tell you what, seeing people that, how timing's everything as far as military allotted from the
Yeah.
promotion system and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So when you even stay within your same career field after you retire
Mhm.
and then you're into the civilian, dude, listen, I ran across so many people that I had trained, that I had done their performance reports, that
Mhm.
made senior master sergeant, made chief,
Wow.
went from the enlisted career field to the academy, ended up being an officer, might have ended up a captain or a major.
That's rewarding.
That's rewarding also. And you expected nothing for it. It was just,
Right.
hey, it was my job. It was
Right.
our job. But
Right.
to see those people come out and that's just amazing. And
Mhm.
then, man, I tell you what, it's tough. I'm almost 60 now. So now I'm seeing a lot of those veterans that went before me,
Mhm.
and they were retiring when I was an airman.
Right.
I still have to keep up with a few of those guys, but
Mhm.
along with a lot of those have left us, and it's getting fewer and fewer. And I'm just 60, but in the next 10, 15, 20 years, we are going to be the oldest, just like those guys, World War II veterans,
Right.
Korean War veterans.
Mhm.
There's just not as many left as it once was.
Right. That's
And
true.
it's just kind of amazing how that works.
It is. Well, we got to take a quick break, but don't go anywhere. Just take a quick break and come right back because we want to finish up our conversation with Red because he's got lots to tell us. So we're
What's
going
it?
to play a song by Big Joe Muse Band, Love on the Floor.
All right.
You bring my whiskey, I'll bring your wine. Just hold my body, we'll sway in time. I'll bring the spirit, you drink a bowl. We're gonna get some love on the floor. Ooh, you and me together. I can't speak what good is talking for. I wanna get some love on the floor. Hey, girl, come and get some love on the floor.
Opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Hi, welcome back to Tracer Rounds on Military Broadcast Radio, where we're giving veterans their voice. And today we're giving the mic and the voice to Red, who is with Just Go Travel and Fairway Travel. And we've been talking to him about his military service, but I wanted to ask one question that I didn't get in, and then we'll talk about your podcast. But was there an incident that sticks out in your mind with air traffic control? Like, was there some moment in time when you just went, man, that we just dodged that bullet? Not literally a bullet, but you know what I mean? Like, it could have been so bad, but with all the different people coming together to make the incident not an uneventful incident. Did you have anything like that just sticks out in your mind?
Listen, there were several. I mean, I don't know where to even start. Some of them I don't think I could even talk about. Okay,
only the ones you can talk about. I don't want you to
understand that. But they probably don't even remember me or what happened then. But no, there's so many times where we came together. Now this is specifically at Eglin. Okay, a busy base, the mission, the everything. It was a lot of stuff going on back in the late 80s and very early 90s, as you know. And well, you know, things happen. You know, no, things happen all the time with weather recalls when all these birds might be out. The whole 33rd Tactical Fighter Wing might be out, you know, 60, 70, 80 F-15s, various other aircraft from maybe the test side or C-130s from an adjacent base, helicopters from the base up north. And then all of a sudden, just a total weather recall happens. And you're just putting everybody back on the ground. Every position in the facility's open. The coordinator position's open. Mission is going wild. They're returning people to base. And it's amazing how something like that, Terry, I mean, to see it, you know, it's not even explainable. It's just how everything goes together. Yeah. And it's not a one-man show. Okay. Right. And it's not a 2-man show or 8 or 10-man show. It takes the whole crew. Okay. Mm-hmm. And I'm not even talking about everybody that's right there inside that facility, because it takes the folks in the tower, those adjacent towers I was talking about. It takes everybody, and everything goes spot on. You know, air traffic control, one thing goes wrong in air traffic control, and man, it's just like the worst thing could ever happen. Same with pilot. It could be pilot error, you know, control error. Who knows? We won't know till after the whole situation's looked at. The tapes have been transcribed. They might even have unfortunately had to get the black box out of the aircraft. But it is amazing how we're trained to fight. And you know, you fight like you trained, and you it's amazing. That right there in itself is amazing to me. And that happened regular. That was on a regular basis. And you know, they say to err is human, but to really foul things up takes a computer. Okay, look, we had the computers being with the radar scopes, the I can't even count what operates the National Airspace System. And of course, a bunch of us humans and radio frequencies, radar. There was no room for error, whether it was equipment or if it was the individual. And we just took care of business. And I'm just proud to have worked with, you know, And it's not only that, even at that base, those controllers at that base, those pilots, okay? And this, you can't credit it all to the controllers. You got to credit to the pilots because they were the one taking the direction from the controllers. They were hitting everything, making the turns on a dime or whatever, you know, their normal rate of turns, their descent, their climbs, and everything just works out like clockwork. And it's not an easy feat.
Yeah, I can't imagine that it is. So my screen, come to speak of it, is completely black, so I can't see anything. So hopefully we're still talking. I can hear you just fine, but
I can see you just fine.
My screen has decided it's not going to show me anything, so I can't see.
Really, well, you're doing an awesome job.
Well, thanks. Well, thanks. You know, it's all about the technology, and when it works, it's awesome, and when it doesn't work, you know, it really doesn't work.
Right. Man, I hate that. I really hate
No,
that.
I'm trying to get it back back together, so we'll see what happens. But so I wanted to know, how in the world did you get started in the travel career after? I mean, obviously with planes and everything, that's all about the travel, and you traveled with the Air Force. But how did you decide that you wanted to do like a side hustle, or do a second career or a third career in travel?
Well, let me tell you, my wife was a travel agent prior to me going in the Air Force.
Okay.
And when I joined the Air Force, well, she was in a travel agency. Okay. She was doing tons of the responsibilities of the agent. She wasn't the actual agent. She worked for two wonderful ladies here from our hometown.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of them might even still be in the business, you know, part-time at this point. But we went on a cruise on our honeymoon, and my family, my dad, mom, they had always taken us to Six Flags over this, Six Flags over that, Astor World, Kings World, you know, whatever it is up in Ohio. I think it's Kings World or something like that. A place out around Kansas City. We just got to experience all this type stuff, going to the beach a lot. And so travel was in my DNA. Don't get me wrong. Not to mention my first assignments there at Eglin Air Force Base, some of the most beautiful beaches in the world, I think, right there in Fort Walton Beach, Destin, and along the coastline on down to Panama City. So I really love that. I saw a lot of touristy stuff happening being in that location. I ended up at Keesler, lots of touristy stuff, of course. Living on the islands for two different islands for 3 years, and in Hawaii, you know, I mean, I had to serve. I was serving the country in Hawaii. You know, it wasn't a vacation, okay, but I did live on the island of Oahu. I did have a sailboat in Pearl Harbor at the Rainbow Marina and the Pearl Harbor Yacht Club.
Yeah,
pretty cool stuff, you know.
That sounds very nice.
I got to see a lot of history there. I played a lot of golf. I worked part-time at the golf course there. So I traveled. Just listen, I've always been blessed, Terry, in so many different ways. And, you know, sometimes not even realizing how blessed I was at the time. But man, I would go to different islands. I go to Kauai, to Maui, and it might be with a high-ranking general or admiral from headquarters PACAF. And it'd be a trip, you know, between, say, the senators, a congressman, or a governor, and we would go check out another island. And just because I could play golf and I was enlisted, I got invited to go too, you know. So getting to go to these different islands, it was just a joy. And after separating from the Air Force for a while, you know, we were working, had kids, were raising kids, so we were doing a lot of traveling at that point, especially out of Keesler. But after a few years after, when I was with the DOD, you know, working for the Department of the Air Force as an instructor, I actually was able to go out on a couple of trips. But in 2015 or 16, my wife and I, we really started doing some cruises. You know, the kids are really getting older now. They were out of the house. Did have a younger daughter, but she would go stay with the grandparents while we took a little trip here or there for an anniversary, a birthday maybe. And listen, we just fell back in love with it. And I was working, I was doing I'd left the civil service by this time. doing other little jobs here or there, but man, when you could get time off and go on a trip, it was awesome.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
then I started thinking about us like, Fonda used to be an used to be a travel agent. I said, man, we need to get back in this. Well, hey, finances, well, you ain't got enough money to do this or do that. But I was suffering, from some disabilities that was really affecting me being able to go punch a clock somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Because you never knew they might be there an hour, might not even be able to make it in there because you felt so sick. I was having a lot of head problems, stomach problems, other painful type, just bad stuff,
Yeah.
And I didn't even realize it. Truthfully, I was having a lot of anxiety and depression, and that'll ruin your body. That tears you up.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard on your body.
And wasn't it? Yeah. And not even realizing it, exactly what it was. And I've come to realize now that's what it is. And some of it can still haunt me to today,
Yeah.
But that's part of it. Now we're over here with MBR, giving veterans a voice, a lovely thing. Yesterday I had a show going on. I had to actually take a radio day because of some situations. But wow, and you know how good this military broadcast radio is. It is an amazing thing, and it's not just for the audience listening. It can be for us doing podcasts in itself, and it's therapy for me so often. But we do get to touch with somebody else at times and help somebody else, which that makes it just all the better. But in 2016, 17, 18, I was like, man, I got to figure out something on this. And anyway, I started delving into it, researching, and I found a deal with this big host agency, and they were giving scholarships to veterans that inquired about learning how to be a travel agent. So
Wow.
I took the little courses, and in 2019 is when I actually registered for it. My wife and I took a few trips. We had to go check out a few
The
places.
fam trips.
Yes. Well, we had to go find those places, that I could suggest for you to travel to. I had to scout it out. Right. So now I'm a scout, I was air traffic controller. Now I'm a scout without the gun, but,
Right.
So I go scout out these places. But in 2019, I did that, Terry. And then in March 1st, 2020, I kicked off my business, the website and everything. My wife was still working as a secretary at our local church. She was a senior pastor's secretary, actually. And I said, well, I'm going to get this thing going good enough. So when I get it up to can get enough money coming in to the amount she's bringing in every month, she could just come home and be with me. Okay.
Right.
Anyway, and so we did that. 1 March kicked off the business. 15th of March, the world contracts COVID.
Yeah.
So
That's a tough
luckily I hadn't been depending on my amount of money to make from travel agency work, because we would have gone under, right? But we didn't. And I just held out and learned some more about it. And then eventually I did. My wife was able to come home with me. And hey, we've been really hitting it hard ever since. I don't think she liked seeing me go on trips
without her.
While she was still at work, because she couldn't get the time off, or the timing just wasn't right,
Right.
So now she's with me. And anyway, so we take trips together, and it's great. It's really great. And we're talking about before instructing, teaching somebody else how to do something and having joy from being able to share that expertise.
Right.
Well, now, hey, my name of our travel agency is Fairway Travel, and that's for my love of golf. It's spelled
That makes sense.
It's spelled Pareway, because they didn't want, the people at Pearl Harbor didn't want to bring my golf stuff to the sailing community. So I named my boat Fairway. And that fairway is like old mariner's term, and like a beacon of light, that navigational aid.
Mhm.
And so anyway, what a great name, I thought,
It is.
And so we called it Fairway Travel. But our slogan, this goes back to about helping and being instructors or teaching other people, sharing your experiences. Fairway Travel, where journeys keep satisfying.
Nice. Hey, well, we're going to need to go into a break. And so, Grizz, if you don't mind taking us into break, I'd appreciate that.
Another regular day, nobody knows. It's that time, he's coming home to them from a foreign land. He pulls up, his mama cries, looks at daddy with tears in his eyes and says, nothing feels better than this. Couple of months go by and no one sees. Something just ain't right, all he wants is peace. He needs help, but he don't know the path to take or the way to go to be free and put his mind at ease. We will help, 'cause we can't stand to see a soldier go to God by their own hands. We will do everything we can to make 22-0 again. He gets help, but he still feels off. Sees an ad on the TV about a dog batting said, this is a man's best friend. Whoa, so he goes one day and he picks it up. Never thought a dog could bring so much love and put a smile on his face. But he's finally found a saving grace. He needs help, but he don't know the path to take or the way to go to be free. Put his mind at ease. We will help, 'cause we can't stand to see a soldier go to God by their own hands. We will do everything we can to make 22-0 again. Whoa, whoa. He needs help, but he don't know the path to take or the way to go to be free. Put his mind at ease. We will help, 'cause we can't stand to see a soldier go to God by their own hands. We will do everything we can to make 22-0 again.
Hi, welcome back to Tracer Rounds. I'm your host, Terry, and in studio today with me is Red, and we are on MBR, Giving Veterans a Voice. Welcome back, Red.
Thank you, Terry. Happy to be back. We got some good music on this station when we share that.
We sure do.
Really love that.
I tell you what, I think, most everybody we play is a veteran or at least supports our veterans. So
Right.
we really appreciate them doing that for us. And so I really want to give them all a shout out and, let them know that we want their careers and their music to succeed and to get out there to everybody else and not just us. We want
Right.
everyone else to enjoy it too.
Absolutely.
So, I know that you are trying to come up with maybe a cruise in February, and then maybe we might be able to include some of our audience as well as our podcasters. Is there any more talk about that?
Well, here, Terry, I'm glad you asked that. Okay, because the promotion is still being worked on. It's on the table right now. It's
Yeah.
not that it's tabled. It's going to happen, and but it's still in the planning stages. And what the audience needs to realize, all you're going to need to do is kind of watch these shows on MBR, Military Broadcast Radio, whether you can catch them live or catch a recording, 2 or 3 days after it's initially aired. And there's going to be particular bells ringing or some kind of clue or to cue you in, like, hey, this is what you need for your free entry into the sweepstakes, if you will, or to the giveaway, to the promotion. And I think it's really going to be good. Okay, going to be giving away at the minimum a cruise. Okay, and that, I think that's pretty good in itself. But I would love to see a lot of veterans, and it doesn't have to all be veterans. It could be lovers of veterans, patriots, if you will, patriots, right? And support each other, go have a good time. I would love to see and try to put together a Super Bowl cruise and watch the Super Bowl on the ship, on a sea day, on the big screen, okay? And man, or either in the sports bars or wherever you want to be on the ship. But I just think that would be awesome. And I've been on there before during it, and it's a big party. It's a lot of fun. It is. It's a lot of fun. And I think that would be a great opportunity. But just saying that, I'm hoping and planning to really schedule at least one veterans trip per quarter starting in the new year. And we already got one in November. We're going to be on a cruise during Veterans Day. Have several that's going to be on there. And we're going to go to the Veterans Day observance service on that ship while we're on there, it's a great experience. I've been there before. And man, you're talking about being touched.
I bet.
And now, granted, I'm from the military, soft-hearted, but man, it's touching. You see a lot of these people in there. And you see veterans from all different services, family of veterans, Gold Star families, and everything else that come to those observance groups. And it's something else, it really is something else. And it may, as a veteran, it really makes you proud, that you served with some of these other folks, and like I always say that, going back with your supervisors, and I know you can attest to this, your supervisors, your commanders, there's so many good people that you can look up to, and the same in those folks you trained. And I'm hoping to have a good group. I would love for it to be everybody I know, but it's not going to be. But I know we're going, because even this cruise coming in November, all the veterans that are going to be on it, I don't know majority of them. I think I only know like three different folks, 3 different cabins. And so it's going to be real neat. Okay. And I think, but it's a great time to be around people you're like, right? So,
right. Well, I don't, if you have military service or you're a military family member, I don't know that you can ever not know somebody, because you have that connectivity regardless of whether you've actually served together or not. You just feel a kinship regardless of, the service, or regardless of whether you've actually served with that person. There's always something in common. There's some commonality that you can always, kind of look to and to kind of talk about. And you have that, that same mindset of service and of, patriotism. And so, I don't think you can really meet a stranger, honestly.
You really can't. I mean, there's somebody and that either walked in the, not in the same boots. They walked in the same tracks your boots made, or you've been in their tracks, or a relative or somebody else has done that. I come from a big family of military folks. So even before I came in, I had all kinds of, I might have been one of the only ones in my generation that joined the military. I think everybody else went to college, right off the bat. But hey, I tried that and it didn't work. So I took off for the Air Force. And man, it's paid back, great. Right. Great. Blessing.
Right. No, I agree. I have two ex-father-in-law that was in the Navy, and his dad was in the Navy. And then my uncle was in the Air Guard, and my stepfather was in the Air Guard, and my uncle was in the Army National Guard. And so, there's been a lot of service in my family too. I'm the only one in my immediate family, other than I guess my dad's twin brother was in the Air National Guard, and he was like they call it a tech, I guess, in the Guard, the Air Guard, they call it a tech instead of like an AGR.
Okay.
That's what he was. So yeah, there's, like I said, it's like-minded. There's all kinds of people that, are instantly family just because of their service. And so I think we're going to end up going into a break real quick. And so we're going to be playing Scotty Frazier, and he is going to be on Two Mics with Two Idiots with a Mic tomorrow at 8 p.m.
With an idiot.
Yeah,
Two idiots with a
I
mic.
can't even say it. So, that's a hard title for me. And, so I think I should be on the show, honestly. So Two Idiots with a Mic tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern. So depending upon where you are and time zone wise, you just back that time out to your specific time. But Grizz, if you don't mind taking us to Scotty Frazier, and then tune in tomorrow to him too as well.
Right.
Seen her out in LA playing with the band. In Carolina, dancing on the sand. She's a star that's slipping through my hands, like the ones that fell on Alabama. She's red, white, and blue. Red, white, and blue. She's my kind of girl, 'cause she's red, white, and blue. Get you high as the Colorado skies, and she shines like those New York City lights. As tough as Texas, and brother, she just might knock you to the ground if you start a fight. She's red, white, and blue. Red, white, and blue. She's my kind of girl, 'cause she's red, white, and blue. She'll wait there in the harbor, holding up her light. She'll bring a fallen soldier home on underneath her stripes. She's red, white, and blue. Red, white, and blue. She's my kind of girl, 'cause she's red, white, and blue. She's red, white, and blue. Red, white, and blue. She's my kind of girl, 'cause she's red, white, and blue. She's red, white, and blue.
Hi, welcome back to MBR, Giving Veterans a Voice. My name is Terry, your host of Tracer Rounds, and I have in the studio today with me Red, and he's with Just Go Travel Show, Fairway Travel. And I wanted you to kind of talk about when your show is, Red, if you don't mind, when it is, when people can catch it, and just, some more details about the show and what you typically would talk about on the show and what people can expect to find.
Okay. Hey, thanks, Terry. Look, I do want to mention, when we were talking about that trip earlier and military broadcast radio in general, man, it's for first responders too. So if you know first responders, if you are a first responder, hey, you're welcome to come with us on that trip. Okay. They also recognize folks like that. Okay. They're right there with the veterans and they're as servants, it's all of us that serve the country, serving all these, many big different areas of jobs and career fields. But look, the Just Go Travel Show, we air at 6:00 p.m. Central Time on Monday nights. And we want you to join us. We'd love for you to join us. Look, next week, what's that last week? Last week, just for example, I have Rule. He's a business development manager with Virgin Voyages. Okay. And he came on air with us and he shared a lot of things about the Virgin Voyages, about their ships, specials that are coming up that Virgin Voyages offers, which is just a great and wonderful thing. This coming Monday, I'm having one very well-known person with Carnival Cruise Lines going to be on with us. And my new business development manager that I have not met yet is also going to come on the show. And I'm going to be introduced to her on the show. Okay. So it's pretty neat. And I'm excited about that. And we're going to be sharing some good stuff, but we like to share specials that are going on for the particular week. Like right now, there's so many different deals going on, folks. Just, I need to talk to you. I need to show it to you in black and white, let you see it. My wife is just very good also at making the visuals, showing she'll do research and find some of the best deals that are around. But Just Go Travel, Fairway Travel, we do any kind of travel. It doesn't matter if you want to say, I've always said if you're going to go buy a car, train, plane, ship, rowboat, it doesn't matter. We can take care of you. We got places you can go. Some great destinations that we visited. If we have not visited there, we know somebody that has. And we're just one call away or one text away from an expert that we're already familiar with. And so you get a personal touch with our agency. going on further with the Just Go Travel Show, we share some geography about certain destinations also. Some things you really got to, maybe some of the excursions or say if you're going to go to Hawaii, say you're going to go to Jamaica, Grand Cayman, or the Virgin Islands, wherever you're going to go, Cozumel, Cancun, we know some of the best excursions, some of the best folks that'll get you around and get you back to the ship on time if you're cruising, or that you can visit also on a day off from the resort. Say you're in Jamaica, you're staying at a Sandals or a couple's resort. Well, we'll also provide information on what you might want to do one afternoon that you can't do right there on resort. So we have the ticket on all that type stuff. We know where to go, know who to call.
So not who, but where is the hottest destination right now? I mean, like is it going by a boat? Is it going by plane? Is it like the U.S. stateside? Is there a destination that's popular, or is it some island or something?
We have a lot of folks, a lot of people are taking cruises right now. Okay. But our hottest destination at the moment, and now we've got a lot of interest in Europe. Okay. A lot of interest over there. And we got folks, I think, in Greece or Italy right now. Wow. Okay. But the hottest ticket right now is at Sandals in St. Lucia. That's the Hawaii. That is the Hawaii of the Caribbean. And they got a new resort there, and people are just jumping on that. They really loving it. And me and Fonda are actually going to be visiting there next month.
Oh, wow. And, good for you.
We're going to be popping in several different places next month, and we'll have video and pictures to share on the Just Go Travel Show as on our website. But if you want to know anything about Just Go, Terry, anybody can go. Just go to Google #JustGo, or go to Facebook #JustGo. Look for Fairway Travel, and we can take care of you. Okay.
That sounds good.
I do have one more show. I got the Freedom from Struggle show.
Oh, yes.
I would love
about it. Well, we've got a few minutes.
I would love to throw in a little feeler for that one too. The Freedom from Struggle show. It's on 3:00 on Saturday afternoons. That's 3:00 Central Time, Saturday afternoons, and it's a program for looking at recovery. We use a 12-step faith-based type recovery recovery program, and I tell you what. Either it's for everyone. Okay, Terry, it's for everybody that's out there. If you're eating, you're breathing, it's actually for you. You can gain something from it. And if you know somebody that is really, really struggling with some type of hurt, habit, or hang up, alcoholism, drug addiction, depression, anxiety, just a host of things, tune into the show and let them know about the show. That's Freedom from Struggle, Saturday afternoons, 3:00 on Military Broadcast Radio.
Yeah, and it's a great show too. I've been on it a couple of times, and I learned something every time. I learned something every time, and I'm hosting. Right. Well, I have to tell you that one guest you had that he rapped. I loved that.
Oh, my buddy, he's a Texan. I figured you would like him. He's from Austin.
Yes, I loved it. So if
blessing after blessing, and they keep coming back.
If you can get that, so we can play it.
I've got permission. All we got to do is upload it to the station, and we can start playing it.
Okay,
and that is a truly good song. It's by these guys are pure at heart, man. They got it going on.
Right. No, I appreciated his talk because he was very sincere and authentic, and he really broke it down into, this is where I was at, this is what I did, and this is where I am now. So he really did, bring you through his whole journey and where he is today. And,
yes.
I thought that was a really great, segment that you did with him, and that he really was hopefully spoke to a lot of people like he did to me. Well, right. We have just about 1 minute left. So I just want to say thank you for joining us today. Sorry for the technical problems today, but hope you'll join us next week. And don't forget to tune in tomorrow to Two Idiots with a Mic at 8 p.m. Eastern. And listen to a special guest, Scotty Frazier will be on there. And then obviously our two dudes with a mic. I'm not going to call them an idiot because they're not. They're actually very smart, and they're great, and they're funny. I was rolling the whole time they were playing playing the show last time. So anyway, tune in. And so this is Tracer Round signing off. And thanks, Red, for coming in today and helping me with this show. And we look forward to hearing more from you.
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to Military Broadcast Radio. As we wrap up today's show, we want to remind you that the podcast of today's episode will be available right after we go off the air. So if you missed any part of the show or want to listen again, be sure to check it out. And remember, we're here to support and honor our veterans. Your stories and experiences matter, and we are committed to giving you a platform to share them. That's right. We're here to give our veterans a voice. So don't forget to catch the podcast